ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Namaste, my dear friends. Maharshi Ramana liked, highly liked, and recommended 6 books to his devotees. The books are Alam Andre, Sorupasaram, Kaivalaya, Navneetam, Ribhu Gita, Astavakra Gita, and Yoga Vasista. I have already given videos on Alam Andre and Sorupasaram. Today I am giving you the videos on the cream of liberation, Kaivalaya Navneetam. It is a very good book for sadhakas who are doing meditation, self-enquiry for self-realization and liberation. Here goes the beginning of this book. Number 1 sloka. Prostrations to the holy feet of the unique Lord, who like ether remains as the sole witness in the hearts of all beings, whether they are swayed by desire for wealth, lands, and women, or are free from such desire, and who shines as the towering peak over the 7 successive spiritual heights, which are in themselves exalted over all other planes of mind, or in Nanilam, the holiest of the 7 holy places. Verse number 2. I worship the ever shining pure consciousness which manifests as Brahma, Vishnu, or mighty Shiva, according as he creates, preserves, or withdraws the universe, and also as the countless individual beings, yet remains ever free and perfect as the blazing sun over the ocean of bliss. Verse number 3. I ever worship the lotus feet of my master, by whose grace I learned that my very self is the all embracing reality, Brahma, and the mosaic of the universe, but a phenomenon in me, and who remained as the self like the ether in a wall. Verse number 4. I adore the Almighty who manifested as my master in order that the mind, the intellect, the senses, and the body might, to my very knowledge, be reduced to nothing like mist before the sun, when he taught me, you and I are one, to make me one with him. This shows the unity of Atma and Paramatma. According to this verse, Atma and Paramatma are the same. There is no difference between Atma and Paramatma. This is the gist of this sloka or this verse. Verse number 5. I adore the feet of the Holy Master who shines forth forever as the wide expanse which has no beginning or end or interval, and I proceed to tell you the true nature of the absolute being, to explain bondage and liberation, so that even those who are too dull to learn the scriptures may understand. Verse number 6. All the ancient sages drew from the boundless ocean of milk, namely the Vedanta, and filled their pitchers, their works. I boiled them all on the fire of the Master's words, churned them with the churn of inquiry into the self, and I present this cream of liberation, Kaivalaya Navneetam, to all. Now will those who have partaken of this and satisfied their hunger roam about eating the offal of externals. Verse number 7. After adoring my master Venkatesa Mukunda, who is himself ever free and who made me his own, I write this Kaivalya Navneeta divided into two parts. The first part of which contains a clear exposition of the truth, and the second clears away all doubts arising from the former. Section 1. The exposition of the truth. Verse number 8. The sages say that there are four prerequisites for realization of the truth. Number 1. Viveka. Discrimination between the temporary, therefore unreal phenomena, and the permanent, therefore the reality that is nominal. Second, indifference to the enjoyment of pleasure here or hereafter. 3. Group of six qualities. And fourth, the longing for liberation. Verse 9 and 10. The six qualities are Sama, Dama, Uparti, Titiksha, Samadhana, and Shraddha. Now, of these, Sama is control of mind, Dhamma is control of the senses, Uprati is cessation of activities relating to caste, creed, family, etc. Titiksha is control of passions and include endurance. Samadhana is, according to the sages, the settling down of the mind to reflect on the truth as revealed by the scriptures and the sages. Shraddha denotes faith in the Master and the scriptures. Such are the meanings of the six terms of this category. Verse number 11. No one can achieve anything in the world without being properly equipped for the task. For the same reason, only those who are equipped with these four categories of prerequisites can gain illumination. A novice cannot get it so readily. If so gained, it follows that the person has been successively purified in countless incarnations in the past. Verse number 12. He alone is fit for knowledge, who suffering from the three kinds of troubles rising before the self, the elements and providence, from thirst, from hunger, thirst, and so forth, from heat, cold, rain, disease, and the like, from robbers, wild animals, etc. Squirmed like a worm scorched by heat and panted for a dip in the nectar of wisdom so as to put an end to the series of rebirths. Verse number 13. As the desire for liberation grew, he became unconcerned about his wife, children, and property, ran away from them like an antelope which had extricated itself from the noose of a hunter and sought a holy master and respected him with all his heart. Verse number 14. After eagerly saluting his master, he stood up and sobbed out his heart, saying, O Lord, I have suffered long the torture of worldly life, which is after all so false. Gracious Master, save me by tearing off the cords which bind me to the 5 seats, so that my heart may be at peace. Verse number 15. The Master lovingly considered him like a tortoise its eggs, looked at him like a fish its eggs, and passed his hands over him like a bird its wings over its eggs, and said, There is a means to put an end to your rebirths. I will tell you, and if you act upon it, your rebirth will cease. Verse number 16. At the very sound of the words, your rebirths will cease, his frame thrilling, his heart rejoicing, as if refreshed after a bath in a spacious tank, tears of joy flowing like love welling forth. He held the holy feet of the Master and prayed further. Verse 17. Even if I, your servant, am unable to carry out your instructions, you can set me right by your grace. You said just now there is a means to put an end to your rebirth. I pray kindly tell it to me and save me. Verse 18. Finding himself subdued, the Master looks at the soul of the disciple and begins to instruct him so that the soul may regain its true nature as a wasp places a well chosen caterpillar in its shell of earth and then buzzes before it. Verse 19 and 20. Master, son, he who has forgotten his true nature is alternately born and dies, turning round and round in the unceasing wheel of time like a feather caught up in a whirlwind until he realizes the true nature of the self. If he comes to see the individual self and its substratum, the over self, then he becomes the substratum, that is Brahma, and escapes rebirth. Should you know yourself, no harm will befall you. As you asked, I have told you this. Verse number 21. Disciple. Lord, can there be any in the world who are ignorant of the self? How then are they all caught up in the cycle of births and deaths? Tell me the unerring truth, for I beseech you in full faith. Verse number 22, Master replies, only he is self-realized who knows what is the body and who is embodied. Meaning, the person who is self-realized, he knows that Atma is residing in the body. Disciple, who else is embodied but this gross thing? Verse number 23, Master replies, you say that you cannot find the embodied being as different from the gross body. Then tell me who appeared as the subject in your dream, or who experienced the sleep in which even the pain of dream was absent. Or again, what is this consciousness in the waking state? Verse number 24. Disciple. Everyday experience proves that the experiencer in the waking state or the experiencer of dreams when the waking consciousness is gone or the experiencer of deep slumber must be different from the gross body. Yet it is not realized. It just flashes in the mind, only to fade away at once. Please explain this. Verse number 25. Just as people pointing to a tree on the earth mark the third day crescent moon and pointing to other stars locate Arundhati, so as the Master began pointing to the cross in order to make known the subtle cause. Verse number 26, Master. The Vedanta as a whole mentions as the cause of bondage and release superimposition and its effacement, respectively. Bondage is caused by superimposition, release by its effacement. Now listen as regards the former. Verse number 27. Superimposition is seeing one thing in another. A snake, for instance, in a rope, a man in a post, water in a mirage, or a blue canopy in the empty sky. Verse number 28. Similarly, the five elements and their combinations seen in Brahma, which is free from name and form, one and the same without a second, self-consciousness and perfect are products of illusion. Verse 29. If you ask how superimposition gives rise to creation, the answer is the beginningless jivas, that is the individual souls, remain unmanifest, avyakta, as in deep slumber. This state is disturbed by the generative thoughts of Ishvara, otherwise called time. Then, avyakta, the unmanifested, ceases to be casual, that is latent, and the three gunas manifest. Verse 30. They are sattva, rajas, and tamas, which are pure, white, red, and black respectively, or again clear, turbid, and dark. Though equal, one of them will always predominate. Predominate. Verse 31. The foregoing is one explanation, another is as follows. The causal state which remains unmanifest later expands as Mah- Mahatattva, the totality of the jivas, the individual souls, and manifests as the ego, wherein the three gunas become apparent. Verse number 32. Ether like chit, consciousness, is reflected in them. Of the three, Sattva is clear and is called Maya. Brahma reflected in this is Iswara, the intellect cause of the universe, immanent in all, untainted by Maya or by any way of the gunas. Verse 33. This Maya is the state of deep slumber, the causal body, and the blissful seat of Iswara. Rajoguna is avidya, absence of real knowledge. Chit reflected in this guna, which is not clear owing to its constant agitation, gives rise to countless beings. The jiva in this state is known as prajna. Verse 34. This is the blissful sheath and state of deep sleep and the causal body of the jivas. I have so far described the causal state of superimposition. Hear me now explain its subtle phase. Verse 35. To provide the wherewithal of experience to the jivas by the loving grace of Iswara, who has all the wondrous powers of his inseparable Maya, the Tamaguna then divides itself into two aspects, namely, number one, dense veiling of reality, and number two, multiplicity of phenomenon. Verse number 36. In the latter of these two, there appears ether, from ether, air, from air, fire, from fire, water, from water, earth. All these five in the nascent state are called elements. From these arise bodies suitable for experiences. Verse number 37. The three gunas permeate all these five elements. In sattva, which is pure, there arise the jnanendriyas, the five senses of individual function, and also the mind and intellect of collective function. These seven products of sattva form the instruments of knowledge. Verse 38. Then in Rajoguna there arise the vital airs of collective function and the karmendriyas of individual function. These 17 fundamentals from the subtle bodies of gods, demons, human beings, animals, and all other living organisms. Verse 39. The Jiva, united to such a body, is called Tejasa, and Isvara, under similar conditions, is known as Hiranyagarbha. In both cases, it is called Linga Srira, or the subtle body, which comprises the three seats, the vital, the mental, and the intellectual. This is their dream state. Verse number 40. So much for the subtle body. Now hear me describe the process of superimposition of the gross body. Isvara, who is ever watchful, combined the five elements so as to evolve gross bodies for the jivas and objects for experience. Verse number 41. Each of the five elements was divided into two halves. Each half, each half was subdivided into four quarters. Then the major half of one element was combined with one quarter subdivision of each of the other four. This process gave rise to the gross elements from which the four classes of beings and their experiences, the universe and its worlds were created. Verse number 42. The Jiva united with the gross body is called Vishwa, and the Isvara under similar conditions is known as Virat. The gross body is the physical sheath and their waking state. Remember this brief statement regarding the gross body. Verse number 43. Disciple. Master, if these states, gross, causal, and subtle, be common to both, how shall we know the difference between exalted Isvara and the ordinary Jiva? Master replies, the Jiva is the effect and Isvara the cause. There is also a difference as between units and their totality. Verse 44. The trees form the units, their aggregate is the forest. Generally speaking, the mobile and the immobile jivas are the separate units. Their sum total is Isvara. This is the difference between Isvara and the jivas. Verse 45. I have said thus far what superimposition is. Only he is a jnani who knows beyond doubt that all that is seen is only ephemeral like a dream. Now listen to the process of effacement of superimposition, the way to wonderful moksha, liberation, which resembles the placid sky when all the clouds of winter clear away. Verse 46. Just as one examines and finds out that this is not a snake but a rope, and this is not a thief but a thick post, so also one makes out beyond doubt by the word of the Master and the light of the Scriptures that the body, the world, and the elements are only Brahma, that is, unchanging consciousness. Know this to be the effacement of superimposition. Verse number 47. Cause and effect are the same, like cloth and yarn, ornaments and gold, utensils and clay, to resolve the body into its antecedent cause until avidya, ignorance, is traced as the root cause of all, is the method of effacing superimposition. Verse number 48. Disciple, you have said that the tamoguna functions in two aspects, namely veiling and multiplicity, of which you have explained the latter, which springs from desire. Tell me, my Lord, the result of the other aspect, that is veiling. Verse number 49. Master clarifies. Avarna, the veiling power, veils the inner vision of all embodied beings except unexcelled Isvara and self-realized jnanis in the shape of. It is not, it does not shine forth in the same way as the dense darkness of a wintry night hides the sky, the earth, and the directions from our view. Verse number 50. Outwardly, this veiling power altogether obstructs the distinguishing of Brahma, who is perfection, from his modifications as the world, and inwardly that of the self, which is pure consciousness, from its modification as the inner faculties, that is, the ego, the mind. It is therefore the sole cause of that chronic disease, the endless series of births and deaths. Verse number 51. The question then arises, whereon does the superimposition rest when the substratum is completely hidden? And how can there be any superimposition if the substratum is not hidden? The answer is the substratum is twofold, general and particular, of which the general substratum remains continuous and unbroken. Transient superimposition is particular. Verse number 52. In the world, the common substratum, this is, can never be veiled, but only the particular identity. This is a robe. Similarly, with the jiva, ignorance does not veil the substratum I am, but it veils the specific knowledge I am Brahma. Verse 53. Disciple, how does it happen, my master, that the power of veiling is censored for the doings of the power of multiplicity, which, arising as the five seeds, the jiva, and the world, obstructs pure being from view? Verse 54. Master, listen carefully. Although the power of multiplicity is the direct cause of the misery laden cycle of births and deaths, yet it is of service to those who seek liberation in earnest. Can the darkness of night be of the same service for one's useful activities as the light of the day. What more can I say to you? Therefore, my son, the power of wailing is the more harmful of the two. Verse 55. Has anyone gained release from the cycle of subsequent births because the world was totally lost from view in his deep sleep or in the dissolution? The power of multiplicity can altogether bring about liberation, but the thick veil of ignorance is the sole cause of the present calamity. Verse 56. You may argue thus, since the power of multiplicity is said to be a supreme position like the appearance of silver in mother of pearl and is therefore false. The liberation gained by the aid of this false power must also be equally false. The answer is a frightful dream, though unreal, ends in waking up the dreamer from sleep. Even so, liberation is real. Verse 57. Just as poison is commonly antidoted with another poison, an iron spike is extracted with another piece of iron. Arrows are turned aside by others, and dirt is washed away with other dirt. That is fuller's earth. So, ignorance, which is weak in itself, can be eradicated by methods which are themselves of the same Maya. Later, this also perishes like the pole used to turn a corpse that is burnt. Verse 58. Through this Maya, Jiva's experiences. Through this Maya, Jiva's experience seven stages of development as follows: ignorance, wailing, multiplicity, indirect knowledge, direct experience, freedom from misery, and supreme bliss. Verse 59 and 60. Of these, ignorance is to lose sight of the fact that the inner self is no other than Brahma. Wailing makes one say, there is no Brahma. I do not see him. Multiplicity spring, springs up as I am a man, I am a Jiva. Indirect knowledge is to know the nature of the self by the teachings of the Master. Direct experience is to stay unshaken as the unitary being after inquiry into the self. Freedom from misery is to end limitations and the sense of doership, and supreme bliss is final accomplishment, that is release from bondage. Verse 61. I shall now relate to you a story to illustrate this. 10 men forded a stream, and on reaching the other shore, each of them counted nine others and omitted to count himself. They were all perplexed because the 10th man was missing. Verse 62 and 63. Ignorance is want of right understanding which causes confusion. The 10th man is missing, not to be found. This thought is the wailing. Grief at the loss of companion is vikshepa. To heed the words of a sympathetic passerby who says, the 10th man is among you, is indirect knowledge. When the kindly man further makes one of them count the others and points to the teller as the tenth man, the discovery of oneself as the missing tenth man forms direct experience. The cessation of grief for the lost man is freedom from misery, the joy of indubitable ascertainment by oneself is supreme bliss. Verse 64. Disciple, Master, pray, show me my real self so that I may know it is it as truly as the tenth man did in the anecdote. Master, there is the Mahavakya, great sentence from the Vedas, that thou art. The verb art in it establishes the identity of the pronouns that and thou in their ultimate meaning. I shall explain how it does so. Hear me. Verse 65. Just as the ether, though single, is fourfold, as the wide expanse, the ether in the clouds, the ether in the port, and the reflection in water, so Chit, which is single, is called the all-pervading Brahma, Isvara, the Self, and the Jiva. Verse 66. In the Mahavakya referred to verse 64, the word that stands for Almighty Isvara and thou stands for the Jiva. But ultimately they mean respectively Brahma, who is free from Maya, and the inner self, who is free from limitations. They are now mutually bound up like butter in boiled milk. Just as the milk is churned and the butter separated, so also you should realize the self and thus stand apart. Verse 67. The way to get rid of the trappings of the jiva is to kill the present idea that I am the body, which is only a corpse after all, for it is a mere assemblage of the five elements. Nor can you be the breath which moves through the nostrils like the blast of air blown by bellows. It is simply a function of Rajoguna. Verse 68. Can the self be the intellect or the mind which stand to each other in the relation of agent and instrument? These two seats are only modes of Sattva-guna. Let not the unedifying bliss of deep sleep be mistaken for the self, for it is only a mode of Tamoguna. Verse 69. Know thou as the self to be Sat Chit Ananda, the ever unchanging, single, eternal, and all pervading witness, and rid yourself of the trap of the five seeds, which are of an opposite nature, false, insentient, painful, etc. Verse 70. Disciple, when I disassociate myself from the five seeds and look beyond, there remains only a blank. I see nothing more than that. Am I to take this blank for the supreme experience of the self. Ma- Verse 71, Master replies, in anecdote, the tenth man of deluded intellect, after counting only 9 men and not recognize himself as the tenth, was stupefied. Can such stupor be the tenth man? Good son, you are the seer of all. That is blank and the five seats. Verse 72. I speak the truth. You are the unchanging witness of the gross, subtle, and causal ignorance, the waking, dream, and sleep states, and the passage of time, past, present, and future, which endlessly rise and fall like waves in the ocean of bliss. Verse 73. Do not ask, by what light shall I see myself? Who am I, the all seeing witness? Can there be a light to illumine the self luminous light? The tenth man knows himself as such among the others. Is there an 11th man in him? Verse 74, to argue that another knowledge is necessary to make knowledge known is foolish and leads to interminable controversy. You are neither known nor unknown. Realize yourself as self shining knowledge. Verse 75. Is it what makes the sweet sweet, not the nature of sugar to be sweet? Realize yourself as the meaning of I, which makes known objects as this and that, or the seen and unseen, and itself lies beyond them. Verse 76. The self, as described above, is the primary meaning of thou in the Mahavakya, that thou art. Brahma, which is never bound by limitations, is the primary meaning of that. Their secondary meanings are the transient Jiva and Isvara respectively. Two separate entities can never be identical. Verse 77. The distinctions between Isvara and the Jiva are due to their names, localities, artificial limitations, bodies, and capacities. They are as far apart as the upper and the nether regions. Neither regions. Their identity is unthinkable with these associations. Verse number 78. When the conventional acceptations of terms appear inconsistent, the Pandits of ancient lore bring out the true meanings by employing three methods of exegesis: disjunction, conjunction, or the two combined. Verse 79. 1. The house on the Ganges, and 2. The black remained and the red fled, and 3rd, this is that Devadatta are respectively examples of the above. The apparent contradictions in several scriptural passages are eliminated by a judicious use of these three exegetical, exeg- exegetical methods. Verse 80. In the example, this is that Devdatta, the man who was seen in another place And on another occasion, and also known as Devdatta, is this man who is seen in this place and on this occasion. Although the time and place are different, a little consideration reveals the man to be the same. Verse 81. Similarly, in the words that and thou, their literal meanings excluded, the consciousness principle is taken as Brahma and as the witness whose unbroken identity is established established by art, so that Brahma is the self and the self is Brahma. Verse 82. The ether reflected in water in a pot and in the clouds are both circum circumstantial and therefore unreal, whereas the space in the pot and the wide expanse are together one and the same. Similarly, all pervading Brahma and the witness in the individual being are together one and the same. You must experience it so that you may remain fixed in the realization I am that reality. On hearing this, the disciple, loyal to the instructions of the master, discarded the five seats and the blank realized the self as I am Brahma, went beyond that and remained as perfect being. Verse 84. At the glance of the Master, who was a grace incarnate, the worthy disciple sank into the ocean of bliss and merged as the undivided whole as pure consciousness free from body, organs, and all else, with mind made perfect, so that he became the true self, unaware while awake. Verse 85. After the blessed disciple had remained in that state for a long time, his mind gently turned outward. Then he saw his glorious master before him. His eyes were filled with tears of joy. He was full of love and fell at the feet of the master. He rose up, came round the master, and with folded hands spoke to him. Verse 86. Disciple, Lord, you are the reality remaining as my inmost self, ruling me during all my countless incarnations. Glory to you who have put on an external form in order to instruct me. I do not see how I can repay your grace for having liberated me. Verse 87. The Master beamed on him as he spoke, drew him near, and said very lovingly, to stay fixed in the self without the three kinds of obstacles obstructing your experience is the higher return you can render me. Verse 88. Disciple, my Lord, can such realization as has transcended the dual perception of you and I and found the self to be entire and all pervading fail me at any time? Master replies, the truth that I am Brahma is realized from the scriptures or by the grace of the Master, but it cannot be firm in the face of obstructions. Verse number 89. Ignorance, uncertainty, and wrong knowledge are obstacles. resulting from long-standing habits in the innumerable incarnations of the past, which caused trouble, and then the fruits of realization slips away. Therefore, root them out by hearing the truth, reasoning, and meditation. Verse 90. Checked by incantations, fire will not scorch. Likewise, defective realization will not put an end to bondage. Therefore, devote yourself to hearing the truth, reasoning, and meditation, and root out ignorance, uncertainty, and wrong knowledge. Verse 91. Ignorance veils the truth that the self is Brahma and shows forth multiplicity instead. Uncertainty is the confusion resulting from lack of firm faith in the words of the Master, the illusion that the ancient world is a evanescent evanescent world is a reality and that the body is the self is wrong knowledge. So say the sages. Verse 92. Hearing the truth is to revert the mind repeatedly to the teaching that thou art. Reasoning is rational investigation of the meaning of the text as already heard. Meditation is one pointedness of mind. If every day you do these, you will surely gain liberation. Verse 93. The practice must be kept up so long as the sense of knower and knowledge persists. No effect is necessary, therefore. Remaining as a pure, eternal consciousness, untainted like the ether, and thus liberated while alive, one will live forever as that after being disembodied as. Verse 94. The wise remaining like ether and liberated even here are of four classes, namely Brahmavid, that is knower of Brahma, Varavaraya, and Varishtha in order of merit. Verse number 95. The Brahmavids who by steadfast practice have gained clear realization of Brahma continue perform even the hard duties of their caste and stage in life exactly as prescribed by the Shastras for the benefit of others without themselves swerving from their supreme state. Verse 96. Should passions rise up, they disappear instantly and cannot taint the mind of the Brahmavids who live in society detached like water on a lotus leaf. They look ignorant, not showing forth their knowledge, and remain mute owing to intensity of inward bliss. Verse 97. Prarabdha, that is karma, which is now bearing fruit, differs according to the actions in past incarnations. Therefore, the present pursuits also differ among jnanis, who are all, however, liberated even here. They may perform holy tapas or engage in trade and commerce or rule a kingdom or wander about as mendicants. Verse 98. They would not think of the past or future, would partake of what comes unsolicited, would not wonder even if the sun turned into the moon or at any other marvel, whether the sky were to spread its shoots down like a banyan tree or a corpse were to be revived, and nor would they distinguish good and bad, for they always remain as the unchanging witness of all. Verse 99. Among the other three classes, the Vara and the Varaya remain settled in Samadhi. The Vara feels concerns for the maintenance of the body. The Varaya is reminded of it by others. The Varishta never becomes aware of the body either by himself or through others. Verse number 100. Although there are distinguishing characteristics in the lives of the different sages who are themselves very rare in the world, yet there is absolutely no difference in the experience of liberation. What can be the use of the hard-born samadhi? The Brahmavid who is outwardly active seems sometimes to feel the misery of calamities, whereas the others remain in unbroken bliss. Now, if the Brahmavids live like the ignorant, how are they free from the cycle of birth and how is their ignorance gone? The all pervading ether remains untainted by anything. The other four elements are tainted by contact with objects. So it is with the Brahmavid and the ignorant. The immemorial Vedas declare that single-minded devotion to a holy sage is not only pleasing to Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva together, but also secures the rewards of all the Vedic rites and finally liberation from the cycle of birth. Now listen how liberation while alive persists after disembodiment also. Now I stop this video here and continue in the second video of Kaivalaya Navneetam. Thank you, my dear friend. Please like, comment, and share the video and subscribe my channel. Namaskar, namaskar, my dear friends. Namaskar.